Is it going to, what type is it? Liability. Yep. All right. So go ahead and try to make an attempt at 1.7 and 1.8, the one right below it as well. And see, now the 1.8 is just like it. It's just it's flip-flopped. Okay, it asked for the type before. And I think one of them or two of them is exactly the same. Yeah. Does that sound all right? You guys good? Okay. All right, so we said the first one was balance sheet and liability. What about accounts receivable?
Balance sheet.
Balance sheet, and it is a
Asset.
asset. All right, income tax expense?
Income statement.
Income statement, and it is a expense, yeah. Think the income statement helps you out a little bit because it gives you a little hint. So what about sales revenue? Income statement, and it's a revenue. All right, notes payable. Balance sheet, and it's liability. And then the last one on this one was statement of retained earnings. Balance sheet. And this one is stockholders' equity. Okay, so now the next one, it added the statement of retained earnings. That's the only difference here. So what type is dividends? Pretty straightforward on this one. Dividends, and it goes on the statement of retained earnings. All right, common stock.
Stockholders' equity.
Yep, and it goes on the
Balance sheet.
sales revenue.
Revenue.
Yep, goes on income statement. What about equipment?
Asset.
Asset, and it goes on the
Balance sheet.
all right. What about cash? Hopefully everybody.
Asset.
Asset. Balance sheet. Notes payable.
Liability.
Liability. Balance sheet. Accounts payable. Liability, thank you. Goes on the balance sheet. And the last one, retained earnings beginning of the year.
Stockholder equity.
Stockholders' equity. What statement does it go on?
I said SRE.
Yeah. This one's kind of tricky. It goes on SRE, but then it doesn't really have a type based on what they gave you. So stockholders' equity is the right type, but it's kind of a weird type for SRE. But it does go on the statement of retained earnings because they said beginning of the year. If they would have said end of the year, then it could have actually gone on the balance sheet or statement of retained earnings. Okay, now, depending on if you found that hard or if you found that really easy, kind of depends on how much extra reading you need to do before you can do the homework. Because obviously not having prep before we talked about this in class makes this one a little bit harder. To be activities that are going to happen on a regular basis every day that deal with the business. Those are operating activities, things that have to take place for the company to operate. Investing activities are typically things like that you put your money in or you when you sell things for property, plant, and equipment, things that you're going to invest in. And then financing activities are loans, stocks, and dividends paid. All right, now with those hints, right as you do that, try to do 10 and 11. Okay, so cash dividend or cash paid for dividends. Would this be operating, investing, or financing?
Financing.
Financing. And so if we're paying, and I'm writing too big, if we're paying money, then financing would actually be going down also, correct? Because money would be going out the door. All right, cash collected from customers. What do we think about that?
OA.
What was that?
OA.
OA, yep. And that would be a plus because we're getting money. Cash received when signing a note.
Finance.
Finance, yep. And again, that would be FA. Cash paid to suppliers and employees.
OA.
OA, yep. We're spending money there. Cash paid to purchase equipment.
Investing.
I think we got two different answers, but it would be IA. IA, property, plant, and equipment. So we paid to buy equipment. So equipment would not be a normal thing. That would be PP&E. And then cash received for issuing stock.
Plus FA.
Yep, plus FA. All right, so down to the 111, cash paid to purchase land.
Investing.
Investing, yep, so minus IA. Cash collected from customers.
Operating.
Operating, yep. And that's a plus. Cash received from selling equipment.
IA.
IA. Cash paid for dividends.
Negative FA.
Negative FA, yep. Cash paid to suppliers.
Operating.
Yep. And cash received from selling stock.
Plus FA.
Plus FA. All right. So probably you notice from those 4 problems we did that a lot of this right now is repetition. Trying to get you to what goes on the income statement, what goes on the balance sheet, what goes on the statement of retained earnings, and then with these problems, what is operating, what is investing, what is financing.